Welcome to the Unapologetically Unstoppable Women podcast, the show where ambition is celebrated, not silenced. Lori, Ann, and Angie are your hosts, and each week we dive into real, unfiltered conversations about women doing extraordinary things in their lives and in their businesses. Here we don't shrink to fit expectations or apologize for our success. We share stories that are inspiring, hilarious, and always authentic, because becoming unstoppable isn't about perfection, it's about persistence. So grab your coffee, get comfortable, and join our community of women who know that no is a complete sentence and there are no limits to what we can achieve together. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another Unapologetically Unstoppable Women podcast with Angie, Lori, and Ann. It's been a while, ladies, since the three of us have all gotten together, so we're really excited about this. Just a reminder, we are redefining what success, challenge the traditional methods of what we think is successful or what other people judge as being successful or unsuccessful, and just talking about how we and other women that we know have changed that false belief of what success is, because success really comes from within. So I'm looking forward to this.
Me too. I'm glad we're all together. I miss it when we don't have everybody's perspective.
Yes, same. So, I know Anne has a pretty powerful, I feel like she should kick us off here because I know she's got a pretty powerful story to share.
So I don't know how powerful, but it definitely kind of even ties back to last week's segment where we were talking about mindset. So I am on the Leadership Columbia Advisory Board this year. And I walked in on Tuesday full of glamour and grace and confident, 15 minutes early or an hour and 15 minutes late.
Oh,
I had messed it up on my calendar and I was leading an activity for the group. Fortunately, I got there in time to do all of that. So that's how it started. So immediately I'm like, okay, well, having a rough morning. Stand up, my shoe breaks. I was wearing a pair of sandals that are glued on each side and just has a thing between the toes. One of the sides broke. So now it's flipping and flopping in all the wrong ways. I'm like, okay, I can either go home and get another pair of shoes, which is going to add to my stress level, or I'm going to go see if they happen to have super glue at the front desk. And fortunately, they did. So I sat out in the lobby and super glued the flap back into the slot where it goes. Feeling pretty good about myself. Put my shoe back on, promptly super glued my shoe to my foot.
I was going to ask that.
Yeah. So I thought I had let it dry. Clearly I did not. So now my shoe is super glued to my foot. And I was an hour and 15 minutes late. So I didn't get to introduce myself with all the other board members. So now I'm there. Nobody knows who I am or why I am. Get up to lead this group and walking like I might be a little special because my foot is very securely glued to my shoe. So I just thought to myself, I'm like, nobody cares. Nobody cares that I'm having a bad day. I am here to lead an activity that adds growth and perspective to this group of 65 people who trust me to show up and do what I do. So I just kind of took a deep breath as I walked to the front of the room, fortunately only flipping and flopping in the correct sounds. Got up, led the activity, went off without a hitch. It was really, really great. As I was walking back to my table, my foot and shoe became two entities instead of one super loving entity. And I just laughed. I'm like, the timing, just the time. But it came out. I didn't rip any skin off. So the definition of success can be very, very different. I could have walked into that going, this is going to suck. I'm never going to be able to pull this off. My shoe's glued to my foot. Like I'm just struggling. And I just stopped, went, no, One has absolutely nothing to do with the other. My challenges are my challenges this morning for whatever reason. And I am going to lead this activity and nobody's going to know anything's going on. And that's exactly what happened. Got lots of compliments on both what they learned from the activity and the way it was led, and just went on with my life. So the definition of success, long story short, is what you make it.
I
That was a
love that.
successful event.
I
Well,
love
There's my
that.
story for the day. I have so
Well
many others.
Well, we could just end this right now.
Right? Oh, but how many
love that.
times have we been there, right? Like some things have happened, and you know, and it's all in what you choose to make of it. And Anne made the most of it. That's a prime example of being, for one, being a leader, because it's like, look, like she said, she could have let that bother her, ruin her day. She could have been up there going blah 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 blah, you know, my day sucks, so this is gonna suck, and I suck, you know. But no, she's like, nope, I'm a leader. I'm here to demonstrate my skills. I'm here to provide a service to Leadership Columbiana, and all the things. And she rocked it. She showed up like, and just owned it. I love that. Even with her foot glued to her shoe.
I know.
I'm sorry, but that's funny.
It was funny because it was three things right in a row. And I feel like when you put yourself in a position to lead or do something, you know, I've learned the hard never pray for patience, because you will have the opportunity to practice patience more than you ever want. So don't pray for that. But, you know, when you lead, God gives you the opportunity to lead what you teach. Like, I have to tell people, don't let stuff bother you. I have to talk to people about not have to, I get to. So I just thought today's an opportunity to practice my mindset and show leadership without anything else bothering me. So, but this question just popped in my head. Where does our definition of success come from? Why do we feel like success lives in a box and anything outside of that box is not okay? So that was actually 3 questions. My bad.
And very good questions at that. I don't know where it comes from. I just know, like, in corporate, you know, you had deliverables, and if you met those deliverables, you were graded on whether or not you met those deliverables, how well you met those deliverables, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And a lot of times, I mean, there were no excuses, right? Um, you just got the work done. So, and then you were successful if your review came back as successful. If companies even did reviews, a lot of times it's just a matter of, oh, well, you get a raise, or you don't get a raise, or you get the good jobs, you know, the fun jobs, and somebody else gets the grunt work. And so it's very, yeah, what's the word I'm looking for? Uh,
It's results driven. 100%
yeah,
results driven. And who
results
decided
driven.
that?
Well, yeah, and not only that, but it depends on your manager. You know, a lot of companies I worked for, the first company I worked for out of college, they were great because they had HR had set, this is, you know, this is your job requirement, this is your job statement, blah, 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 blah. And then you get promoted, and it was very well laid out. But none of my other jobs after that had it well laid out. It was totally up to the manager. And if the manager didn't like you, you may as well forget it.
Yeah. Yeah. And like for me, so I have a little bit of a unique situation in that I graduated when I was 17. I moved out the very next day at 17. I had a full-time job, and which meant, you know, I also had to figure out how to support myself at a very young age. And so I entered into the MLM world, and in that world, success was driven by how much money you made, how much revenue you brought in to the company. And I found that and it was a jewelry company, and I found I was very good at selling this jewelry. And so I was earning trips and all of these things at a very, very young age, because their definition of success was the higher volume of revenue that you generate, that means you're successful. Success gets rewarded in these trips and higher paychecks and bonuses and all the things. And so for me, for a long time, and I mean a long time, that was my definition of success. It's like, how can I increase wherever I'm working at? How can I add value to increase revenue? Because that was my definition of success, not necessarily theirs. And so I wasn't always, if you can imagine, I wasn't always a good fit for my employers because I'm very strong-minded, very strong-willed, very assertive, and sometimes that doesn't really fit into other people's agendas. But so I had to unlearn that and say, yes, I mean, you know, we all need money because we all need to eat and we all need, like whatever.
Right.
But it's not the definition of success. There's so much more, and it's highly intrinsic as to what that looks like. And I'm big on what that feels like. And Lori, I know that sits in your, expertise. What does that success feel like?
Right. Right. Because we can, and I ran into this my last, probably 5 years of corporate, where it was dragging me down. I mean, I was not happy. I was doing my job. I loved my customers. I absolutely loved when I got to go out to visit my customers. But when I was in the office, it just really dragged me down. But I was deemed successful because I was doing my job. I was getting, I don't want to say moving up the ladder because I didn't want that. I didn't want to be a manager. But I was looked at as being one of the experts. So if a major client needed help, I was one of several that they would call upon. But it was killing me. I mean, I really felt like it was sucking my soul. There was just too much to do to retain that success, right? To be that person. And I couldn't you get to a point where I couldn't dial it down. Because I was so in that mindset of, well, then I'm being lazy. Come on, other people are putting in, 60, 70 hours a week, and come on, and I couldn't do this, definitely not 70, 60 hours on occasion, but that was even somewhat rare, usually around 55, but that's still a lot. And then I had my own home to maintain and yard to maintain. So it was this like constant. So, but it was successful on the outside, and I learned that that's what success is until I literally had I don't know if you call it a panic attack or what. I was working at my home office here, and I could not touch my keyboard. I just couldn't, and I just sat here and I cried and I cried and I cried because I couldn't do it anymore. And no one should get to that point.
Right.
We need to start listening to our bodies, listening to, okay, if your heart and body is screaming, I don't want to do this anymore, then start exploring ways to change it, to shift it. And actually, I did shift into a different job, which I loved in the last like 4 years there. I was able to shift into a different job, which I love, was lower stress. Um, so, but you have to be aware and don't allow yourself to get into a panic attack. Don't allow yourself. I know women who are disabled. They actually have disabilities because they couldn't say no at corporate. They were going for that success, what corporate determined was successful. And it just breaks my heart when I see, especially women who are trying to do it all because that is success. You not only have to be successful in the office, but you also have to be successful in the home You're still doing all that work at home. And that's just too much. And you're not doing any, ladies, you're not doing anybody any favors by killing yourself doing that stuff. You just aren't. So I'll get off my I get so passionate about it because it's crazy what we do for success.
Yeah.
I love all that. And I think you said it. So success looks like understanding your limits. And when you know what those limits look like and what you can do, you are a successful person.
Mhm.
I have been so results driven for so many years. And being an entrepreneur has actually taught me to, I have to look at all the steps because sometimes the results aren't there, but the work is there. The fact that I'm choosing, the fact that I get out of bed every day and do the right things, and the right things don't always happen in the order or as quickly as I want them to, but they do eventually happen. And by right things, I mean the things that lead to a paycheck. But it's the success for me is getting out in the public, talking to people, doing collaborations, challenging old beliefs, stepping outside my comfort zone and going, I know I can't do this alone, so I'm going to get somebody to do it with me, but because I really want to do it. So knowing those limitations and where you need to build in some areas that maybe are levels of discomfort.
Yes.
And I don't know, Angie, you've spent lots of time in your life doing things that were uncomfortable.
Yes. But I'm a firm believer in is that's growth happens outside of our comfort zone. And, I'm just such a big believer in that. And, I think about like inside my one-on-one coaching program, I preach like self-care and celebrating success. But it's not my definition, it's whatever your definition of success is. And I try to find ways to have success like every day that I show up and successfully complete a podcast episode with Lori and Ann, that is a success. And I need to celebrate that. And I need to, rejoice in the fact that I get to do these fun things in my business and all of that. And just finding those, marking things. I like whiteboards. And so, like, anytime I can erase something off of a whiteboard, that's a success, because it's like I've accomplished something, I've done something, I've moved the needle forward, and sometimes I don't always like the work because it's not something I enjoy. It's maybe not something that I'm necessarily good at. I know how to do it, but it's not my area of expertise, but I do it anyways, and just even showing up for myself and for the women I serve and, being accountable to others, to me, I mean, and success can look different on any given day, like
Yes.
success can be that I engaged in self-care and I didn't do a damn thing, right?
Yes. Yeah. Well, last week I was not feeling well. And to me, success was, oh my gosh, I got through the day without having to take a nap. But, I also got to take naps to take care of myself. But it was like, wow, I have enough energy. I don't have to take a nap today. Oh, that's so
Absolutely.
sad.
No, but I think though, it's just so important of, reframing the messages that we tell ourselves, because we can find success in so many little things. And it's like, you all know my story. I've learned how to walk again twice as an adult. And every time I can walk across grass, anything with rough terrain, I still struggle with. I just take my time and I go slow, but I get it done. And I don't hurt myself. That's a success, right? Like, and but I know my limits, and it's like, okay, I can't do it as fast as other people, but why should I? I'm Angie. I'm me. I'm going to do it at my pace, and I'm going to do it in a safe way so that I don't hurt myself, and it's okay. And then and so everything just kind of, I think if we really look at it, we achieve so many great things throughout the day that we may not have previously thought were successes, but they really are.
I love that because the key thing, I mean, everything you said is absolutely beautiful. The one thing that stood out for me was you look at what Angie can do and what Angie wants to do. And so that is the key to success. And I think, Anne, you said that or alluded to it earlier, is, your definition of success, what you believe is successful for you. And if it's just getting out of bed and a half an hour earlier and working out, I'm still working on that. Um, that's success. And celebrating the little successes. This is actually really helping me because I've been in a place, especially being sick all last week, where it just life felt so heavy. So I'm loving this conversation. I need to hear this conversation today. I really do need to hear this conversation today. The little successes.
As I'm listening to all three of us talk, I can't help how awesome it is that the three of us are at a point in our lives where we finally got to choose. We got to choose how we were going to do our day, how we were going to do our career, how we were going to make money. And so we get to every day challenge ourselves and do things a different way. But there was a time in my life when my husband was traveling because he was in the military. I was raising kids. We needed to make a certain amount of money. And I tried doing little stuff on the side, but I didn't feel like I had the choice to like dump everything and own my own business, which is what I've always wanted to do. So every day I got up and did all those things I was supposed to do and didn't like any of it. And back then, I wish I could go back and tell that Anne to like do the things that I do now and to just the mindset difference, just hey, you have this great opportunity. You're raising these kids, you're doing all this stuff. But if I had just looked at it differently, because I wasn't happy, I didn't feel like a success. And there was a point where my back, I realized I had some back issues and I was in a sales job where I was in and out of the car a lot and I couldn't do it. It became debilitating. So I quit that job and ended up spending about a month, really a lot of downtime trying to get my back to heal. And my husband said, you don't have to go back to work. We're making enough money. And I tried staying home. I didn't feel like a success because I wasn't contributing. So I didn't go out with my friends. I didn't go out to lunch. My friends, I'm in that weird age group where I'm young to have kids the age I have them. So friends my same age have much younger children. So they wanted to go to McDonald's or Chick-fil-A and let their kids play in the ball pit, and I wanted to stab myself in the face with a fork. I'm like, I don't want to go hang out with your kids. Like, no, 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 I'm past that. I'm good.
I'm
So,
done.
I made choices and realized I don't like this. And my husband's like, you should be proud that you take care of the kids, you take care of the house, you take care of me. And I'm like, but I'm a wife and a mom. I'm already supposed to do that stuff. Like I don't get a star in the forehead for doing the things I'm already supposed to be doing. And so I put a lot of pressure on myself. And when I could do it, I ended up going back to work and wasn't happy, wasn't happy, wasn't happy. And when I finally got to the point, I'm like, you know what? Figure it out. Why aren't you happy? Because if this isn't working for you, don't do it. But all that to say, there's a lot of people that are in that boat. They're like, I would love to go start my own business. I would love to do this. I would love to do that. I can't do that. So they still need to challenge that definition of success. You're not doing it right now. Look, think about what you can do in the future, but what are you doing right now? What is your daily win right now? And focusing on that. So I love Angie's coaching program. She's an amazing coach.
Yes, she is.
Because we do every week. You talk, you have to tell her that you did self-care. You have to tell her that you celebrated your wins and what those wins are and things like that. So take the time to look at that, even if you feel like I'm not doing anything that's a win. When you start looking, there are lots of wins every day. If you're raising happy, healthy children who do well and, they're just look at the wins because I promise you'll find some.
Yes. And I found too that by reframing and choosing my own definition of success, I don't have near the burnout that I used to have. I used to get burned out because, in order to make more money, I was of that hustle mindset. The harder I worked, the more I worked, the more money I made, the more success I had, blah, 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 blah. And I went decades doing that. And I also got burned out. And there were times I got myself so sick that I ended up in the hospital with exhaustion and dehydration because I was in that hustle culture mindset because of that definition of success. And once I started reframing it and saying, maybe I'm not feeling it today, but the fact that I showed up and got done what I was able to get done, what I had the mental capacity or the physical capacity to get done, that's a win. That's a success. And it really, I won't say eliminated my burnout, but it is not as prevalent, and it is not as heavy as it used to be, because I'm always looking for the wins and what was I successful in today versus looking at, oh, I didn't get everything done on my to-do list, must not have been a success. No, I did check off this, and this. That was a success. And so just reframing things, just those little adjustments, at least for me, have made a big difference.
Well, and also one of the things that I teach my clients in my courses and in my coaching is the way you talk. And you were saying I get to, right? That's a shift, but it is a powerful shift. So I take my clients through an exercise of, using the term I have to go to work, and how does your body feel? I get to go to work. I like going to work, I choose to go to work. And just the difference in how your body feels when you say have to, that's a heavy feeling. And I always say, people say you only have to die and pay taxes. No, you only have to die. You don't have to pay taxes. Now, there are severe consequences for not doing that.
Right.
So I'm not saying don't pay your taxes, but everything has its pros and cons, its consequences and its benefits. So, when you're saying I get to, or I want to, that's a choice that we've made. And there are times I don't really want to be sitting at this desk because my butt hurts. But it's like I choose to. Why? Because I have a mission. And just shifting that, catching yourself whenever you say, I have to. Oh, I have to go to the grocery store. And I catch myself saying that all the time. I don't have to. I choose to because I need something there. So yeah, it's just a whole different way of lightening your load, lightening that heavy feeling of, oh, I gotta get up and do exercise. It's
Yeah, because then it feels like, oh, this big, massive task. So even after the other day, I turned get to into, so here's my new big thing I'm trying to work on mindset wise. I have the opportunity to impact somebody every time I pick up a phone, every time I have a conversation, every time I leave the house, whether or not I will.
I like that
person, but I have that opportunity. So that's what I'm using now to drive me, is every time I make a choice, I have the opportunity to impact somebody else.
I am going to use that. I am going to use that. Do I owe you royalties?
A Starbucks is great.
Well, one of the things Ann and I talked about last week was, when going into opportunities, and if you think something is going to suck, like, oh, I have to go to this meeting that I don't want to go to, like if you're like, I volunteer a lot, and with volunteering comes a lot of meetings. And so it's like, oh, I'm not feeling it. I have to go to this meeting. It's going to suck. Well, guess what? It's going to suck. But if you reframe it and say, you know what, I'm so passionate about the mission of this organization. I'm choosing to volunteer my time, talent, treasure, whatever it is that you're, volunteering in whatever capacity that looks like, and say, because I am so passionate about this mission. And at the end of the day, the meeting, it might not, I mean, it might not be the most sexy and fun thing you did all day. However, you get to have like Ann said, have the opportunity to make a bigger impact on something that's greater than yourself. And, I mean, I just think about all the times I've gone to, and for whatever reason, networking meeting comes to mind. And I'm like, I've sat at my computer and looked at my schedule and go, I would not be upset if they canceled.
I know.
I mean, I have, if I'm being honest, because it's like, Zoom fatigue is real and all this thing. And so, but I got to shift my mind because it's like, okay, she's showing up. So you know what? That means I am also showing up, and I don't know what opportunity this could be. And 99% of the times it ends up being a very awesome conversation. And I'm glad then that she showed up. But so, it's really just a lot of reshifting and reframing how we approach things, how we view things, the thoughts we tell ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah. Mindset and like you say, the way you talk to yourself and being aware of what is draining you. I did this at the beginning of the year I just did it. I'm just doing it this week as well. I'm cutting back on stuff that no longer serves me.
Yes.
No longer serves me. Those things you're talking, Angie, you just like dreading, oh, I wouldn't be upset if they canceled this. If I feel that way before every meeting, then there's something wrong. It's not resonating with me, and I have to step away. And so I'm stepping away. I canceled two things yesterday. Both of them cost money. So why am I spending money to do something that really isn't moving me forward and doesn't bring me joy?
Nope, I love that. And you did just say you have to step away. Just pointing that out. You did say that.
Oh, did I?
But in that case, it was true.
Well,
You did. Maybe you had to step away, and that was the exact right word.
Well,
Um,
yeah. Go
don't you
ahead.
think comparison is the biggest detractor from success? I have friends who their definition of success is that they run every single day. If that's the definition, I am never going to be a successful person as
Nope.
long as I live, because I am not. So
No.
don't compare, because as soon as you start comparing what other people, and they might not even know why they have that definition of success. Somebody somewhere along the way told them that, and they bought into it and drink the Kool-Aid, and now they have this definition of success that they've never challenged, and they're not even sure they can ever live up to, or that they like it. Figure out what your definition is, and it gets to change. We've talked about this so many times. It gets to change day by day, week by week, as you go throughout your life. Things that don't serve you. I have 3 bags of clothes that made me successful, ready to get given away because they don't serve me anymore. Success comes in a lot of things.
Yes. Yes. That cleaning out the closet does make you feel good.
Today, cleaning out is a success. Yesterday, getting it was a success.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, because the comparison, and I see this a lot with, I will say, a younger generation of women. They are so much into the comparison era because of social media.
Oh, yeah.
And they do a lot of comparing someone else's highlights because let's be honest, most of social media is the highlight reel. And then there are the TMIers who oh, I had a successful bowel movement today. Just thought y'all should know, and then there's those, but but that leaves this opportunity for the comparison. And it's like, oh, well, they went to some exotic place on their vacation and I went to Pennsylvania, and so they do this compare. And it's like, but did you have fun? Did you make memories?
Right.
Did you, relax and recharge and spend time with your loved ones or whatever? And it's like, well, yeah. And it's like, so who cares that they went to some exotic place? Right. But this comparison, and it's robbing women and young ladies of their joy and staying present. And it's like, oh, I have to document this so that then someone else can be jealous of me and someone else can play the comparison game with me. And I would love to get that whole entire generation on a platform and say, stop it.
They didn't go outside and play
Exactly.
enough. That's the problem.
Exactly. Exactly. Get off the phone. Yeah. Yeah. A friend of mine, a good friend of mine from years gone by, she lives in Phoenix now, and she happened to be in Ohio recently, and we got together, which was really cool. But she got laid off, and she had a good package, and she's my age, so it's time to leave that regular work life anyway. And she, so mentioning, oh, she went to this exotic thing and she went to Pennsylvania, and, Pennsylvania's not as exciting. This lady, I love her to death. And she's an inspiration because she just started driving. She drove from Phoenix to Dayton, going this way, this way, this way, this way, this way, this way, this. I mean, just all over the place. And she was telling me some of the place. I've never heard of these places. And she's like, oh yeah, and I went to a place, and I saw these firemen standing out, and I just wanted to talk to him. So I just went over and started talking to him. And she's like, and they gave her these pins and and a t-shirt and all kinds of stuff. And that's her. She can have fun and make friends no matter where she goes. So even if it's just some podunk little city or town, she's gonna have fun. And that's exactly how we should be looking at life.
Yes, absolutely. And yes, I mean, I believe you can find beauty. This is my philosophy, and this is what works for me. Is I believe we can find beauty in anything, and even just, like my husband and I just like to go for drives, no radio on. Sometimes we're silent, sometimes we're engaging in deep conversation, but it's just something that's like relaxing to us. But we live in a beautiful part of Northeast Ohio, and sometimes we'll just pull over, and I'm like, John, look at that magnificent view. Like God created this. And it's just, I mean, and just to be in reverence of the beauty that's all around us, and to me, and then that's like a successful endeavor, because you just, you're taking in things, and finding appreciation and beauty and joy in the simple little things around you. It doesn't have to come from an exotic place where we're playing the comparison game. It
Right.
can be in your own backyard, or
Hmm.
wherever. And but it takes, uh, challenging your own mindset and being very conscious of, like right now, the grass is brown, and I'm kind of finicky about my yard. And I could look at it and say, oh, my yard's looking really gross. Instead, I'm like, I love to mow, but it's like on the flip side, it's like, oh, now I get more pool time because I'm not spending the time mowing. You know, that's a win.
That's a win. That's a win. We'll send you some of our rain, Angie. Our
I
lawn
think
is
it's coming.
nice and green, but it's also full of weeds.
Oh, yeah. I think it might be coming our way. I think we're headed for some rain this week, but it's just, it's all in, like, and even like, I love a good rainstorm. It's a nice time. I love to sit and watch a good movie during a rainstorm, and just kind of like relaxing. And it's like, oh, can't work outside today, oh darn, I get to watch, Netflix or whatever. And I don't know, I really just, I try really, really hard to, because I have an inner mean girl who lives in here, and
Me too.
whew, so I've
Me
got to
too.
work really hard to zip her lip.
I can tell you in Columbia, South Carolina, it has been incredibly rainy over the past several days,
Really?
where I haven't been able to mow my yard. It's just too wet. And I've heard people complain about how rainy it is, and I give the same answer every time with the same excitement. I'm like, free water from God. My
Ah,
water bill was so high last month. I'm like, this isn't costing me anything. I will take it all day long. And if it means I have to stay in the house and clean out my closets, or stay in the house and binge watch whatever happens
Yeah,
to be on Netflix at the time, well, so be it.
That's right. It's God saying, relax a little bit.
Yes.
And hey, I'll
Yes.
water your lawn for you. I got this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yes.
I love
Because
it.
there's opportunities, I believe, everywhere too. Like, every time you are meeting someone new, like Ann said, I have the opportunity to make an impact in someone's life. There's opportunities all around us if we're open to them, if we're aware, and we kind of get what we look for, kind of a thing. And so I was having a conversation with someone, and I call them God winks, but the 1111 or 111 shows up all day, every day in my life in some fashion. And the woman I was talking to, hers is nickels. She finds nickels, but it's like, but you're conscious of those. I'm conscious of the 1111 or the 111. She's conscious of, and the nickels just appear. Matter of fact, she sent me a text the other day. She was at the checkout, and there just happened to be a random nickel. She went to put her stuff down, and she was like, there was a random nickel laying right on the counter, so she sent me a text. But my point is that when you're conscious of those opportunities are all around. And and I think that can be applied to so many things in our lives, whether you're looking for a solution to some type of problem that you have in your life. The solution's around you. Somebody, or somebody knows somebody. You just have to open up the conversation and find the opportunity, or or those, what I call those God wink moments. And every time I see 1111 or 111, I'm like, thank you, because I know that's him saying, hey, I'm here, whatever. And green lights. That's the other thing. Whenever he gives me green lights, I'm like, thank you.
Yep, me too. Yep, thank you.
But it didn't help my husband the other day when he got a speeding ticket, but that's okay. I mean, it happens to the best of us.
I'm with you. I see 1111, and my birthday is November 17th. I see 1117 a lot. But I joke when I see 1111, I get to make a wish, but I see 111 a lot. I only get to make 3/4 of a wish.
Oh, I like how you know that's
how do you do 3/4 of a wish?
Clearly not very well, but it's just because one of the ones is missing. I'm like, oh, well, that's only 3/4 of a wish. Welcome to the brain of Anne.
On our next podcast, Anne will talk about 3/4 of a wish.
I love that. And I did. So my friend who sent me the text, she said, well, when do you first kind of remember like seeing those, like the opportunity for the 1111 or the 111? And I said, I remember clear back in high school. It just, I didn't really understand it back then, but I remember very specific things around 11:11, especially 11:11 p.m. because I'm a night owl. But and then I became much more conscious of it as an adult, because I was like, and interestingly enough, so many of you know I'm on the local school board, and and I was losing when all the votes were coming in. I was losing, not by much, but I was losing. Mm-hmm. And at one count, I had 1,111 votes. And I said, John, I'm going to win. He's like, Angie, you're not going to win. You're losing. I said, no, I'm going to win. He's like, how? You're losing. Like, and I said, 1,111 votes is what I had at that particular count. I won by 3, 111. And I said, I mean, so I knew, even though I was down for the count until the 11th hour, and then I ended up winning by 3. And so it's funny how I could have at that moment. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, my butt was puckered a little bit, because I was like, I want to win. I did not want to lose. But as soon as that count came up, my butt unclenched, and I knew it was mine. But
So is there a significance to 111 or the number 11, or is it like, I mean, for everyone, or is it for you?
I I mean, I don't I know there's a lot with like angel numbers and stuff.
Okay.
I haven't studied them, so I don't really know. I have looked it up, and it's like, yeah, whenever you see like 111, with angel numbers, it says like that's the time that you pray about something or you set an
Yeah.
intention or something along those lines. And then it has to do with like prosperity and different things. But I've just
Interesting.
I've um every time I'm conscious of those either whether it's 1111 or 111 showing up, and I'm conscious of it and it reveals itself, I'm usually amidst something that's very enjoyable, very rewarding, very successful, something like that. And so it just holds it's holds a special significance because it elicits a feeling inside of me. There's a comfort there because I've attributed it to God answering prayer and that type of thing. And so I get a lot of comfort from those numbers whenever they show up. And if I'm having like a challenging day, because life is not always perfect, and sometimes I'm too tired to reframe, and then burnout can set in, or I'm just like like non-functional. But every time I see those numbers come up, it just adds a level of comfort there of like, okay, God's got me and I'm going to be okay. And, so yeah.
Oh, good.
So I just
Good.
quickly Googled it because, like I said, I always just joke that it means I only get three-quarters of a wish instead of a whole wish. But it says it's a way to catch your attention to direct you to your destined path. So because when you pay attention, so like I pay attention when I see 1111, 111, and 1117. I'm like, oh, my birth, but I'm consciously aware that I get excited when I see those numbers.
Okay.
And 1111, I always make a wish. 111, like I said, I tell my stupid, corny little joke. And then 1117, I just get excited because it's my birthday. But it is a conscious awareness of something going on around you.
So to me, there's a local pizzeria that is very popular in this area, and their number to call in is 471-1111. So now every time I see that commercial, I'm going to think, all right, life's good for me.
It's because you're going to wish for pizza.
Right. Oh, too funny. Anyway.
Which isn't a bad thing.
No, it's not. Actually, we had some last weekend, so it was really yummy.
I love how our conversations start out fairly seriously and then we end up like diverging down some path. And so
Yes.
let's bring it back around. How do we
You know,
how do we bring all this conscious awareness and all that to define our success?
yeah, and you said it multiple times, and Angie, you were adding on to it. Mindset, how we look at things, how do I define
Yep.
success? How do you define success? Because it could be totally different.
Yep.
I'm at an age where I don't need to, I'm not going to work 50, 60 hours a week. I don't need to work 50, 60 hours a week. I'm retired from corporate. So my success is I choose to not work for half a day and go do something fun because that's what retirement's all about. So everybody has their own definition, and Anne, you mentioned it so well, and Angie as well, how you talk to yourself, the words you use. And you started this out with your lovely story. I love that story with where you glued your foot to your sandal.
That's fantastic.
Some days are
But
just cute days. Just saying.
yeah, but you told yourself it's okay. This is gonna be great versus well, I may as well just go home because this is well, that's just started my day and my day's just going to suck. It's a difference. We bring our own success through mindset. That's how I sum it up. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah.
I 100% agree. Anytime I get to challenge anything I've been told, like I take it as a personal mission. I'm like, why do I believe that? So who decided what success is? I've told you this, after my brothers died, I went through a very unsuccessful period of life, but I learned so much. I never want to do it again. That's not a test. I never want to do it again, but I learned so much and it forced me to make those mindset changes. And sometimes success just looked like I got up and I brushed my teeth. And that's all it was. I brushed my teeth, yay me, and
Yep.
that was something good for the day. And certainly as you get better at it, as you get to different places of your life, as you have more choices, you get to redefine success every single day. I know there's a lot of people that want to be retired from corporate and doing what they love. But just nobody should ever feel bad that it doesn't look or feel like they want it to. It's just not right now. That doesn't mean it won't come. And maybe by the time it does come, it's not what you want anymore anyway. And that's a success that you
Yes.
decide, hey, I don't even want that anymore.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Very good point.
Enjoy choices. They're the most wonderful things we're given every single day.
Yes.
Oh,
I love
so
that.
much. I do too. I love that. And success is as unique as our fingerprints. We all see success through a different lens based on experiences, what we've been taught, what we've been told, what we've experienced, what we feel. I mean, all the things. But success is really, it's our own unique fingerprint. And instead of saying, well, I'm not successful because and then they do the comparison game or whatever. It's like, no, I'm owning my own definition of success in that moment. And I love that it's such a fluid thing. There's not a hard and fast, this is success, period. I love that it's fluid. I love that we get to redefine and make it our own and adjust it to whatever it is that we have going on in our lives, our business and personal. And, like sometimes it's a success whenever I don't bite my husband's head off. It's like, oh, Angie, good job. You were able to engage in self-control. And, did it matter that he left his socks on the floor again?
Yeah. And oh my God, makes me crazy.
He celebrates your success then too, I promise.
Yeah.
Yes. He's very grateful. He's very grateful. And I managed to, I'm like, oh, in the big scheme of life, this is what I tell myself. In the big scheme of life, the fact that there are socks on the floor is not the end of the world. And so, that's how I get through it. But, I just would encourage everyone, just, look at your fingerprints and how unique and how different they are and how you define it success. Yeah, great, perfect. That's the definition of success, right?
Right. I like that analogy. It's as individual as your fingerprints, and it really is. And you said it could change every day.
Yes. There's
Yes.
beauty in that. There's, it makes it exciting. It's like, because every moment I have a new opportunity to be successful, every moment that I don't bumble and stumble and fumble all over my words, that's a success, You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just all in how you look at everything. And yeah, so it's just so powerful, and it takes work though. It takes that I don't know, Lori, I think you might, but that conscious effort. Or Ann said it, one of you, it's a very conscious effort. But the more, it's just like anything, the more you exercise it, the easier it comes. And and now I have my moments and I have my days, because there are some days, because I'm human, I'm like, I ain't feeling none of this today, let me tell you. But I have a choice. And some days I do cancel all my Zooms because I'm like, my eyes are fried. I cannot be on this camera another minute, but that's good self-care. And that's a success that I felt comfortable enough to say, you know what, I've got to take this time for myself. So
yes. So ladies, even gentlemen, if you're out there watching, listening to this, watching this, let us know, what is your definition of success? What makes you successful? And does it change for you? It does for me. And so let us know. We'd love to hear from you. And any last parting words, anyone?
Just say, if anybody wants to send us, like, did we make you, are you thinking about challenging, what does success really mean? So if you have to start there, go, I don't even know what that looks like for me. Tell us that. If you got a nugget that you can then share with others, share that with us.
Yes, great point.
Yes.
Yep. I would just say go out and make it a successful day in whatever that looks like for you. That's what I would say.
Even if your shoe is glued to your foot, you can
Exactly.
I am living proof.
Well, you won't lose your shoe, that's for sure.
You definitely won't lose your shoe.
At least one of them anyway.
That's right.
You guys are awesome. I love this every single week. I look so forward to it.
All right, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Unapologetically Unstoppable Women podcast. If today's conversation fired you up, inspired you, or made you laugh out loud, don't forget to hit subscribe and share this episode with another unstoppable woman in your life. Remember, you don't have to apologize for your ambition, and you never have to shrink to fit someone else's expectations. Keep showing up, keep breaking barriers, and keep living life on your own terms. Until next time, stay unapologetic, stay unstoppable.